can use one of those intros too.
Oh, okay, I'll do it. Then we'll play yours. Wait a minute, what in the world?
Greetings, the wake up call.
I don't know what happened.
Just got to click on it.
I can't find it now.
It's up on the right hand corner.
What thing? Which one? Oh, menu. That's right. Back. Where does it say where it goes to dark mode? I want it to be dark mode. I guess it doesn't matter on the screen, but it matters for me. Anyway.
Hello and welcome to the Ninja Star live stream. You might get cut.
And intro.
Okay, buddy. Unmute yourself.
I did.
There you go.
All right. So, guys, here we go. We're going to try this again. Hopefully this works. Please bear with us. We're new to this.
Here we go. We're going to try this again.
And begin.
You want to tell them what they're going to be looking at?
Oh, yes. So, good point. So, those of you who may not see the first round of this as we're trying here, basically, long story short, just a quick background once again. I stumbled across this live stream that ETT End Time Teacher was having. He's a professing so-called Hebrew Israelite of the GMS group. Anyways, I stumbled across this live stream, and mind you, this was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was up doing invoicing, etc. for work. Long story short, I go in there just to see what they're talking about before I go to bed. And end up being in there for a couple hours. And we're just having random conversations, this, that, and the other. And one of Penkoski's followers was actually in there, this guy called The Light in This Dark World. He goes by Luke. He's in Australia or New Zealand, somewhere out there. And he's a huge Penkoski idolater. He'll go into any and every street preaching live stream he can and tells people to sign up for Social Cross so that way Rich can, fish and hack your information and steal your credit card information. And anyways, so that's kind of the situation here. And I didn't want to bring up Rich, but since this guy's a Rich idolater, he kept bringing up Rich. So Rich got brought up here and there. And anyways, within 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes of me getting off, Rich all of a sudden, lo and behold, shows up. So because of that, ETT, his name is Nathan, he contacted me back and said, hey man, you probably want to come back on here. So then I came back on here, and this is when the first time me and Rich Penkoski ever had a face-to-face. So I'm going to let Jonathan start it from right before Rich comes on, and we'll just go ahead and we're going to go ahead and kind of just break this down. God bless.
And before we get started, there is some strong language because
Oh yes,
definitely one or two of these guys are definitely not saved. I'll tell you that.
for sure, most definitely.
Jay, I show all these fucking all the videos. I show proof. He shows no proof on me. He calls me a child predator. He calls me a pedophile.
Mute your
He
mic.
calls me a sexual predator.
Yeah, I know the stories, man.
He calls me a homosexual. He says I work late at truck stops and have sex with gay truck drivers. I mean, where does he get all this from? Why is he so obsessed with homosexuals?
Maybe
he always talks about that. He always talks about that I masturbate to him. Like, dude, why are you thinking about me masturbating? That's disgusting. And I don't masturbate.
Jay, maybe you could shed insight since we're trying to figure out why a man would come up with like random fucking accusations. Can you explain to us where you come up with yours?
Yeah, man, fucking, you're a Freemason, dude. You passing off Hawaiian as
The idea that I was in fact passing off Hawaiian as Paleo Ancient Hebrew. How does that make me a Freemason?
it's not that, Mike. It's just that you come out of nowhere. Like one day you just join ETT stream, and then all of a sudden you're all.
All right, so quick thing I just wanted to throw in here. So I mentioned how Rich is always like saying perverted things, and like I masturbate to him, I mentally masturbate to him, that I touch the computer screen and do all these weird things. And he even started this lie that I work late at truck stops so I can give oral sex to truck drivers. I mean, it's just the most far out and left field accusations and actual literal slander. Because let me just add that in there right quick. So all these different guys like Rich Penkoski, Wally, you name it, bro. They always throw out slander. They always say, "Oh, my slanderers, people are slandering me," but they don't actually accurately define what slander is. They throw that accusation out there in turn when they're actually the ones who do the slander. For instance, Rich constantly, as you guys might see, depending on how far in this video we go, Rich calling my wife a Jezebel. Well, you're slandering my wife because my wife is definitely not a Jezebel. Rich saying that, I do oral sex on truck drivers and that, I mentally masturbate to him and I masturbate to him. Again, just complete slander, complete off the wall, just out of left field, disgusting things to create and say. I mean, where does this stuff come from but a defiled mind? And this is somebody who, mind you, let's just keep this in the forefront of our minds, friends. This is somebody who calls himself a pastor. I mean, I couldn't imagine like Charles Lawson or Reg Kelly or, Leonard Ravenhill or, Derek Prince or, goodness, even Mike Hoggart. I couldn't imagine like guys like this. Sam Adams, and many, many more. I couldn't imagine them talking like this and saying the most vile, disgusting things out of their mouth like this creature does. This creature says the most perverted, disgusting things. And this is all proof. He says, how can one expose you when all they do is show your public videos? Well, exactly. It is exposing because people are getting desensitized to filth, and I'm exposing the fact that the filth and vileness that you say out your mouth is disgusting. They really need to understand how disgusting this is. We're talking about somebody who's claiming to be a pastor, but that doesn't have a pastor's heart and definitely doesn't have a pastor's mouth. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let Jonathan continue playing this. Jonathan? Hello?
Sorry, I had my mic muted. Let me start over. I was going on a little rant there. So, if you just really quick to kind of quote him and his buddy, how will your children remember you? Well, they're going to remember you for always talking about sexual perverts And then out of all the sodomites that hate you, and you give them every reason to do so, they don't hate you because you're a follower of Christ. They hate you because of your hatred, because of how you act. Now, we know the Bible says that God does hate on some matters, but you're constantly filled with hate. So how come none of these sodomites that persecute you, how come you never accuse them of masturbating to you? Seriously, of doing this vile, wicked stuff. You only accuse a guy who's exposing you, because we know these sodomites lie and make up stuff. We've seen what they say. We've seen the exaggerations. So, but you act just like them. You're so far past exaggerating. You're a humongous liar. And we're going to see further proof of how perverted he is when it comes to actually slandering Eric, to actually taking things out of context. There's actual proof. He actually admits to his crime of this, where he never would do it on his own, but when he's confronted, he admits to it. I'd love to see what else he'd admit to face.
And not only that, Jonathan brought up a good point while we were going over this. How if we like sent this video to like one of those what do they call them, the body language experts, how when you watch his body language, you can see like just how much he's lying. So we'll let John. I just want to throw that in there, and then we'll let Jonathan go back to playing this here, and just make sure every time we do this, just to make sure that we mute our mics, or if Jonathan wants to come back on again, unmute your mic. But I'm going to mute my mic now.
Okay.
Around everybody on here, and then you got supposedly you got this Discord and doing this, and then you're Italian and you're in the mob and you're a porn star. Like I've been hearing all this
When
stuff.
did I
Right?
say I'm a mobster or a porn? What are you talking about?
I've been hearing stories, man. I've been hearing stories. I've been talking.
That's hearsay, bro.
Just wanted to say something.
That's hearsay, bro.
I've been okay. Yeah, well, it's hearsay. It's hearsay. We'll go off of that.
Okay.
But nah, you show up out of nowhere. You and your dad got checkerboard
Pause it.
backgrounds and your
I don't have
videos
a fucking
and shit.
checkerboard Masonic.
This is the next. The only reason we're playing the next few minutes is just to show that I'm getting ready to get off of here, and then within not even 5 minutes, we'll probably just have Jonathan forward it to it or whatever. We'll let it play in fast forward speed, just to show that within 5 minutes, Rich came on.
And that's because of this guy, Luke, the light in this dark world.
Go ahead.
You use the Grim Reaper as your avatar, and then who's the Grim Reaper? You know, you look in the occult, that Saturn. Like,
Look at your avatar.
you got Mason written all over.
Look at your avatar.
Yeah, we've been
bro.
over this. That's just clown face. It's just clown face.
Hey, Jay, you know what's funny about that? The Hebrew
If
Israelite
not,
camps
you know
are
what?
the Hebrew
Hold
Israelite
up, I'll
camps are
change.
actually controlled by Freemasonry.
Yeah. One West Church. Yeah, I know about all that.
And I'm sitting here
Okay, so
speaking
what are you talking
against
about other
them.
people being Freemasons?
I'm not affiliated with any Israelites. The only one that I talk to is ETT.
I don't claim
And
to
he's
be a
not.
black
He's not a
Hebrew
real Israelite either.
You know what I'm saying? I come out in the name Yahuwah, and that's not what the
Yeah, that's
Israelites who are
Hawaiian, man.
Masons are preaching. So why wouldn't I be preaching Yahweh?
That
Or Yahweh
who
Shai.
Wait, how is that Hawaiian? What?
Yeah, how is it
is
Hawaiian?
You're getting
what way?
confused with Hawaiian as ancient Paleo Hebrew.
How so? How did they spell the word Raul, right, without you?
I
in
never
Paleo
said
Hebrew?
that. No. Hold on. Raul is Spanish. I don't know how you're getting that to.
Go
Hebrew.
look in the Siloam Tunnel inscriptions, line 3, word 3, from the right. Pull it
Well,
up.
hey guys,
You'll
God
see the
bless you
word
guys. I'm
Raul.
bouncing out of here.
All right, Eric. Good
All
talking
right,
to
You
you,
already
man.
know,
You guys
brother.
be easy, man.
It's nice talking to you. You should join one of my live streams one of these days, man. I go live.
that-
True leader Jay. At least you're
that's
not calling
sweet.
yourself a pastor anymore.
No,
He
I still
does.
am.
He
still
does. Yeah.
Oh, see, he knows who I am.
I know who
says he
you
don't
are.
know who I am.
I never said I don't know who you are. I said I don't know who Sacramento is.
Yeah, they
But you wait, you know the
I
channel
teamed up
Tuller
with a
J?
couple other friends.
Yeah, I've seen 2 Liter J around for a few years.
Yo, is Talos a
Yeah.
god that you be praising, bro?
No, it's not.
But God bless, guys.
You know,
I'm out
you
of here.
always gotta
I'm just
praise
saying, why you got
Talos.
praise Talos on your icon?
Whoa,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
No,
real
video
does
game.
that mean that
And again, most of these guys are not. They're not saved. They're very immature.
Yeah, very, very mature.
They're Discord junkies. I mean, and again, so that's why they're up till 5 in the morning. Like, I'm just gonna throw in a low blow here. This guy, Luke, the light in this dark world. He he actually said that because of Eric's videos, that his Muslim stepmother slapped him in the back of the head because she saw that Eric was exposing him, and she based all of her judge. I'm sorry, it's just funny.
It is funny.
What I mean, obviously she can look at more than Eric's channel and figure it out. But I think she looked at, and it's like, well, the reason why your mom probably slapped you in the back of the head is because you're up until 5 o'clock in the morning, which means you don't have a job to go to.
Well, to be fair on those regards, which maybe he does, I don't know, but he's in New Zealand or Australia, so they're like 14 hours ahead of us.
That is true. Well, the way he does, so I'll change that up then, so that way it's fair. I don't want to be unfair. But he sure does spend a lot of time promoting Social Cross
He does.
everywhere. Kerrigan's channel, all over the place.
Brian Cranford, I've seen him in Cranford's. I've seen him in Adam LaCroix.
Yeah, and it's not going to do anything. So when you watch this later, it's not going to help. That site's not. You have to have some big financial backing and some very corrupt money to do what Rich is trying to achieve with Social Cross. So that kind of makes me think that it is some kind of underlying scam of some kind. And I don't want to be totally dishonest. I really do not like Rich at all, and I have my own reasons why. But I mean, that's never going to happen. It ain't happening, period, ever.
Definitely not.
Okay, so let me show you guys the timeline here. Let me move this up so you can see that. So we're right at like 5:37. I'm just gonna fast forward this.
About 4 minutes or so.
Yeah. Okay. So in the chat, he says, "I was just told that Eric Lying Love, man, he couldn't even capitalize your last name. How sad. Said my wife was a porn address registers to her. He's a lying piece of trash. The psycho stalker did a been verified search and the email address is registered to." Now, so I've seen that background report. I'm going to let Eric tell you where the original background report came from. Who made the original, like who paid for the previous one that was not from Ben Verified. And just because something comes from Ben Verified doesn't make it any less of anything. But somebody else actually provided a background check with that same information. You want to tell them about that?
I sure will. So, our old good buddy, TJ Neslo, aka JT Olson, aka JT Preacher, aka Tennessee Preacher, whatever he wants to, go by. Our good buddy JT Olson, after him and Rich had a falling out, he did a background check on Amanda and Rich from a completely different background website. I couldn't tell you what the website was, but I can tell you he did do a background check on them. And he's the one who actually discovered that there was this porn email address attached to Amanda's name. Had he never showed that to us, I probably would have never even done at least maybe not up until that point. I might not have ever even did a background check on them. It was because of that, because of JT doing that I was like, you know what? I want to see it for myself. He told us, he showed us, but I wanted to look it up and see it for myself. And sure enough, there it was. And it's funny because like he'll go on and say, oh, what kind of stalker or whatever, does background checks on people? I don't know. Maybe the Penkoskis, because they sure do. They were able to find this old MySpace account that my wife had before we even knew each other. And they were like accusing her of having some like sexual kind of name.
And that was just direct retaliation.
Right.
Like,
that's it.
Instead of saying, no, this is not true, they said, well, what about this?
Right. Right. Because it said a C kitty. And it was spelled ASSY kitty. So they, of course, in their defiled minds, just automatically assumed it was saying ASSY kitty and pronouncing it like that, which doesn't even make any sense because, again, if they knew that my wife is Assyrian, that's a shortened way of saying an Assyrian, putting a C, etc. So anyway, just stupid. And even when she made it, I don't even think she was. She might have just been. She might have either was lost or just got born again. So, anyway,
it doesn't really matter because it's not a bad word.
Right, and at the end of the day, I mean, it just shows that they do background checks on people, but when they do it, it's okay.
I mean, well, and again, it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess if it would have said dog, that would have been more acceptable. And greetings to Justice White and Brian Lobos Dania.
Yeah, God bless you guys.
Thank you for coming in.
But yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's like he's right that is all irrelevant because again, it just shows their hypocrisy that they can look up backgrounds on people because they did background checks on me. That's how they were able to find out a lot of stuff about me, and then with my last name and with different,
most crimes. Of that stuff you can find out for free,
right? Or maybe maybe they did, but nonetheless, they were still searching me up. So again, it's okay for them to do that, but when the shoe's on the other foot, well, then it's wrong. So, anyways, yeah. Go ahead.
Let me just tell you something as well. Just kind of add to it as far as background checks go. I worked for a major debt collection agency in the back office, and I did verifications. I did stuff for bankruptcies. I could remove stuff from people's credit, all legitimate, on a dispute basis only, and client confirmation. Let me tell you something. They do not take email addresses of other people and associate them with somebody else based off of address. They won't do that. When a background check occurs, even if it has more than one person's name, the email address will be associated solely to that person. It's not going to show up if you lived let's say you lived in an apartment complex and 20 other people have lived there before you, or in maybe his case, 800,000 people, for the exaggerations case, have lived there before you. Nobody else's email is going to pop up to your name. And even if a junior pops up behind a female's name, that's just a formality. That could also be because of the fact that when you have so many aliases, maybe you forget what gender you are and just throw a junior out there. And there are women that do name their daughters after themselves as well. So usually in a background check, now obviously this isn't the case, but usually it will either say the second, the third, or Junior. I've seen Juniors show up with females' names before. I've looked at tens of thousands of people's names in background checks. So they could say whatever they want. I've got the proof. My wife knows. All my friends and family know. They all know about my background in this stuff. So I'm pretty good judge of character of these things. So if it's not, it's not. But the way it's responded to screams of some kind of guilt. When somebody makes a false accusation, if that's what it is, you don't respond in kind with the same way. You just say, "Oh, hey, I don't see how you could come up with something like that." But that's not the modus operandi of a guy like this. It's just bark, 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 bark. Now I will play.
Television, baby, you can't get rid of it. What's good?
Yo, is
No, no, no.
Vigilant Christian the guy that
Vi-
was like European that would go around?
No,
and,
he's Canadian, and he's been, scamming fucking Christians for donations, and then he spent it on hookers and cocaine.
But
So
was he the guy who would go up to people and like interview them?
no, well, he was sending.
I'm gonna
dick
fast
pics.
forward.
Homie on the thing, bro.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
So we'll call it right at 54:40. He comes in.
Or I don't know. He's fucking weird. I don't know.
Oh look, yo, we got homie on the thing, bro.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Who this?
Yeah, we got you.
It's Rich. What's up, Rich?
What's going on?
Rich Nupper.
Rich, do you remember me, man? I had you on Facebook a couple of times.
What's your name?
Well, I don't want to say it, but I go by Jay.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know who you are.
Okay, all right, great.
So I actually got out of bed to address the lies of Eric Love.
Do you wear your hat to bed?
First of all, he's changed.
Hold on.
Register her.
He sure looks wide awake for just getting out of bed and, like you said, wearing a hat. Anyways.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Have you ever done a bin verified search on anybody? Because number one, the search results aren't even reliable.
My wife said the volume's low.
Longacre.
Okay. Let me check it.
Left who happened to make porn videos. The email address has nothing to do with my wife. The guy is a lying scumbag. Okay.
That's completely possible. Those searches are pretty shit.
You might have to rewind it a little bit.
Why I won't say where I work? Well, let's see. Because I'm an atheist that rented the house after we left who happened to make porn videos. The email address has nothing to do with my wife. The guy is a lying scumbag.
Rewind it a little more. I want to touch on what he just said.
You might have to rewind it.
All right, and he wants to know why I won't say where I work. Well, let's see, because I'm a public figure who has been stalked and harassed by LGBT people.
Okay.
Because
Shit, I'm gonna be honest with you.
all right, and he wants to know why I won't say where I work. Well, let's see, because I'm a public figure.
Right there.
Who's been stalked and
No, rewind it to when he was talking about something about when you talking about the initially how and his understanding how that email address even came about. You pretty much just go right to the beginning of him coming on
Okay.
there.
There it goes.
yeah.
What's up, Rich? Book a couple of times.
What's your name? I know who you are.
Okay, all right, great.
So I actually got out of bed to address the lies of Eric Love. First of all, he claims that my wife has a porn email address registered to her. Let me tell you something. Have you ever done a been verified search on anybody? Because number one is the search results aren't even reliable. Number two, my wife's maiden name is Longacre. The search was under Amanda Longacre Jr. And the email address came up on an address we lived at 5 years ago to an atheist that rented the house after we left who happened to make porn videos. The email address
Pause it.
with my wife. Like,
First and foremost, he says he says that have you ever done a Ben Verified search before? So how would he be an expert on Ben Verified unless he himself has been doing Ben Verified searches? He makes it seem like he's an expert of Ben Verified. So right there, when he's talking about, oh, what kind of stalker does background checks? Well, apparently you, because you seem to be the expert on Ben Verified. Secondly, he says that there was an atheist who was living there after him who made porn.
How would you know that?
Yeah, how would you know that? I'm really confused at how you would know that when this was when you had moved to West Virginia. So how do you know there's an atheist living there who makes porn? I mean, that just seems like such an easy cop-out. But anyways, that's all I really wanted to add.
Yeah, it's weird. And another thing, I mean, he would already know that if Ben Verified is bad, that he's weighing the information against other background checks. And we already saw a completely different website background check. So obviously a lot of the same places have the same information.
the guy is a lying scumbag. Okay.
That's completely possible. Those searches are pretty shit. I'm gonna be honest with you.
All right. And he wants to know why I won't say where I work. Well, let's see. Because I'm a public figure who has been stalked and harassed by LGBT people who, every chance they get, try to cancel me. So why would I not
That's
say
right.
what
Yeah,
I
I
do
seen that.
when you got Eric Love stalking me for 3 years?
So he's talking about trying to cancel people. He's tried to cancel Eric, tried to put my business out there. And his wife has spoken about my wife and my wife's first husband who's dead, which makes her free to marry, unlike you. So it's okay for everybody else to be canceled, or at least a pathetic attempt on your end, except for you. I really don't think you could actually